Hello everybody, I'm not sure where I will insert this in which video, but I just wanted to point out that what happened here this morning is I had like 3 videos to make, and I totally miscalculated how long it would take for some of these things. So I recorded the actual video on the camera with different topics in the same video, and in order to make these videos at least somewhat reasonably long, like 1 hour or less, I'm going to have to go in with the scissors and cut them up. So I apologize in advance for any kind of jump cuts, or if I don't quite have the flow, the introduction, body, conclusion, the way I normally try to do. That's the reason why. I just had to record this while I could before it snows and deal with the rest in post, as they say. So thanks for bearing with me on that, and back to the video. Hello and welcome to the Homeless Consultants channel. My name is Paul B. I am the Homeless Consultant. And in this video I just want to actually string several different topics together. It's more or less an update on what's going on here with the winter, being homeless, and a couple other things. So just to get started, what we're having right now is what we'll have most of the winter. It's repeated bouts of sub-zero freezing. So it gets below 0 or 10 below 0, 20 below 0. The wind chills get below 0 or 20, 30, 40 below 0. You'll have several days of that, and then all of a sudden it jumps up to like 20 or 30 degrees, but it snows. So you've always got one or the other. It's very rare. Right now, for example, it's in a couple hours it's going to start snowing. So what you're seeing right here seems pretty peaceful, and it is, but it ain't going to last long. No matter if hours is all it's going to take. And this is what I deal with every year. So I'm either in these Arctic sub-zero temperatures where I'm just dying here, and in fact, I'm going to put my gloves on so they don't get too cold while I'm doing this video. I had to take them off to manipulate the camera because you know what I've told you about how power cords, any kind of cable or cord, freezes in this car. So if I come out and I grab a power cord like for this video camera, it'll look like a wire coat hanger just standing up in the air because it's frozen solid. Well, and how everything breaks and I have to constantly replace those. Well, the camera's the latest victim of this. I had a heck of a time getting the power to stay on to the camera. So I'm actually losing the camera. Not just the power cord, although that thing's been taped up for the longest time. You know, I've got tape here because it's all shorted out. But the part that actually goes into the camera got pushed into the camera. So if I can't get to where I can replace the camera soon, you might just be having a lot of audio coming up on this channel for a while. But then it goes from that, where I'm just in here trying, you know, these heat packs all over my body, just putting the blankets over my head so I can't see what threats are out there, just to try to survive for hour after hour. And then you get what we're going to have later today, which is a bunch of snow, which means I can't drive the car because the car will just slide right off the road. But when it snows, I get chased by all the snow plows. The snowplows can't stand having a car in their way, and they always, you know, push the snow in your way. That one I showed the other day in the parking lot, I thought of it later. I thought, well, you know what? I didn't show that in very good context because it looked like, well, I'm parked right in the middle of the parking lot, and I'm just sitting there while this guy's plowing, and I'm not getting out of his way. So that's my fault. And yeah, that's kind of true, but I didn't show you the rest of that video, the early part. When he came into that huge empty parking lot, he came straight to my car. And I have the video of it, which shows the entire parking lot completely unplowed except for one. The guy came repeatedly and shoved a bunch of snow right up here by my door. So I couldn't open the door if I wanted to. And that was it. He didn't do anything else anywhere. And then he went to the other end of the parking lot and started clearing. So you tell me what that was all about. He didn't do it with those cars that were sitting over there that did not have people in them, and they were nice cars. He did it with this rusted out car that had a person in it. And that's what I have to deal with. These guys take a lot of interest in homeless people, and not because they care. So that's what I'm battling here. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to put on some glasses, and my glasses have all broken too. So I have to wear this ridiculous is embarrassing, but it's the only thing I could find. Alright. In the past 12 days, starting Christmas Eve, in the past 12 days, I have spent 4 days just sitting in this car the whole day. So out of 12 days, 4 of them, 1/3 of the time, 1/3 of the time of 12 days, I've just sat in this car because they didn't open our business. They had our business closed for the holiday and the eve. They shortened the hours. Because of that, I've spent that much time just sitting in this car. I could not afford to get the hotel, so I had to just sit in this car, and it has been absolute misery. Told you before, I can't do anything when I'm in the car. Most of the time this time of year it's dark at night, but if I have this computer on, even on the lowest setting, it attracts creeps like flies to manure. In fact, on Christmas Day, just one example, Christmas Day, I made the video about murder. And I spent the day editing that. I went to upload it. It was the end of the day. I really wanted to upload it on Christmas. I just wanted to get it all done on Christmas. So it was about, a little after 10 when I got started, 10 p.m. The businesses where I was using the internet access were closed. No cars, not even cars parked there. Almost no traffic on the road out there, and just nothing, just desolate, freezing cold. So I start uploading part 1 of that. It took about an hour, and I got to 93%. So I had 7% left to upload just for part 1. That's how slow YouTube uploads my videos. Apparently to discourage me from uploading videos, part of their shadow ban process. And after it was an hour, a little bit more than an hour 5, 10 minutes, 7% left, and what do I see out of the corner of my eye? I see some movement over here, and I look over there, and there's a guy walking toward my car, and he sees me, and he starts moving a little further away from the car, but slowly. He's got his hands in his pockets, the hat. It's just freezing cold out there. It was about 10 minutes after 11 p.m., folks. Christmas Day, nothing open, nothing around, no cars, dark, but you could see my computer screen in the car. Like I said, this thing's just a lightning rod for weirdos. And this guy starts walking up, and he's trying to inch his way toward my car. So I just look at him, and I'm trying to evaluate, because, since 2 years ago, carjackings have gone up something like 3,000%, maybe 300%, but it's gone up this huge number. I've got a computer right here. Anyone could just come up with a gun and say, give me that computer. See, it's not safe at night. And this guy, and he starts getting too close, and he just got too close, and he crossed that line. I flipped this thing down, threw it down, put the car, and the car's running, of course, because, to try to stay warm, even though there's no heater. I put it in reverse, and I tear out of there to save my life. And, of course, that disconnected the internet, and that whole upload was shot. So it was I had to drive about 20 miles to get to the next place where I could start uploading all over again. And then when I had to drive back, that was 40 miles of driving I had to do just to upload those 2 videos, all because one creepy guy comes up to my car. You don't walk up to someone sitting in a car in a dark, just crawl out of the shadows and walk up to someone in their car. They've got a computer. I mean, if you went up to the wrong car like that, someone like on my end might have pulled out a gun and shot him. You just don't do that. But this is my life, folks. Throughout most of the day this time of year in the winter, it's dark outside. That means I can't have the computer on, or else that happens almost every time. Some gangbanger walks up to me. Somebody has to mess with me if they can see the screen. Then you have the daytime, like right now. I got really lucky because since it's going to snow pretty soon, it's overcast. I can actually see the screen. I can't see detail for like fine artwork, but I can read text, and I can do these videos. I don't have the harsh shadows making the videos from the sun. But that's a very brief period. Most of the time, it is bright and sunny out here for those few hours where there is sunlight at this time of year. Well, when that happens, I can't see the computer, so I can't do anything. So when I say I'm sitting in the car for 4 days out of 12, I can't do anything, folks. I can't work during the day because it's sunny, you can't see the screen. If I take the computer out and take a chance at night like I did there, I get some creepy skulker coming out of the shadows who could be a risk to my life or my property. It doesn't make any sense in that freezing cold for someone to be out there approaching my car. Okay, and I can't roll down the window to find out what's going on. My window doesn't work. I have to open the door. That puts me at risk. Which, by the way, reminds me of another one. This morning, when I left, I worked last night. This is the first day of my weekend, 2 days off. When I left about 3:30, 4 in the morning, I left the parking garage. I drove probably a good mile, didn't see a single car anywhere. I come around this winding turn, and there's a stoplight down here. Now, at that time of the morning, this is one of the few stoplights in the entire state of Minnesota I've seen that does it right. As you approach it, it changes. So that if you slow down slow enough, by the time you get there, you can just keep going. You don't have to actually stop and burn all that gas, wear and tear on the car. Well, as I come around the final bend, I see a car at the stoplight, and the light turns green. Or it might have already been green. So I'm like, okay, well, this guy's going to go through. I might not make this light. So I'm driving up behind, and I get behind, and the car never moves. And the light's staying green, and the car's just sitting there. As I get up and I pull behind and I stop to figure out, within 1 second, this gangbanger jumps out of the car, comes running toward me, waving his hand, and I don't know if he had a gun or not, folks, because I pulled this thing back, and I wasn't sure. He wasn't really violent at that time, but he's like moving like weird. I don't have a window. So as I'm moving, I crack open the door, and I was about to say, do you need help? Because I thought his car was disabled. And instead, what the guy said, and I apologize for the language, but this was his language. Minnesota Public Education at work, folks. I wrote it down. Where was it? Why are you fucking following me, motherfucker? While he's waving his hand that could have had a gun in it. That's what he said to me. Okay, this guy was so strung out on drugs, he had just stopped his car. His car was already stopped before I even came within visibility of him. I get behind him expecting him to leave, but he doesn't. Instead, he gets out of his car and accuses me of following him. So again, I put the thing in gear, and I just take off like a rocket. See, this is what I have to deal with, folks. Meanwhile, you're just asleep in bed both of those times, or in the comfort of your own home. And I should be as well. The reason I encounter these things is because I should not be living in this car. But I do. So out of the last 12 days, I've spent 4 days in this car, the whole day, or essentially. I couldn't afford the hotel, and I still can't. As of right now, I've been in the car for 12 hours since work. 12 hours so far. I can't afford the hotel this week. These are my days off. I can't afford it. And frankly, I don't want to go to the hotel for reasons I'll tell you here. But I don't have the money anyway. If it got so desperate that I just had to give up and had to bite the bullet and go to this dumpy hotel, I don't have the money. It can't be done. I'm stuck in this car for my 2 days off work, just sitting in this chair. And when I leave this chair the next time, I'm going to go straight into work and start my whole work week again. That's what I'm working for, is to pay for this wonderful, privileged lifestyle that Colin Kaepernick's always talking about. This is your white privilege, folks. 12 hours I've been sitting in this car since I got out of work. I have 58 hours to go. Sitting in this car, sitting in this seat, with this bar jammed into my side, into my solar plexus, until I get to leave this car, and when I leave this car, I'm going to go to work to pay for all this. Because I don't make enough money to pay for the hotel. You see, during the winter, I have to run the car so much to generate engine heat. It's anywhere from $20, $25, maybe $30 a day. A day for gasoline for a car that often doesn't even move. Doesn't even move from here to the parking space next to it. And I can spend $20, $30 on gas a week. And that consumes all the money I would have had for a hotel. That's how close I'm always cutting it with the hotel, by the way. So I can't afford to go to the hotel this week. I'm stuck here. I'm going to be stuck in that snow. I'm going to be stuck getting chased by those plows. I'm going to have to keep moving the car. It's just going to be a horrific 58 hours starting right now. And I've already been in here for 12. Folks, you work for 40 hours a week. Your entire work week that you're at work is 40 hours. 58 plus 12 is 60. I'm sitting in this car for 1.5 times the amount of time you spend at work in an entire week. And that's my day off. Those are my 2 days off, folks. That's how I get to spend it. Sitting in this car, not a hotel. Because if you remember, the Minnesota Department of Health took it upon itself to close the only hotel I could actually afford. The one where I could afford the hotel and save money. So I had to go to the next most expensive or least expensive hotel, which is $30 a day more. That means if I can afford the hotel at all, I can't save money because it's chewing it all up, $60 extra a week. And in the time since the Minnesota Department of Health did that for no reason and saving precisely 0 lives in the process, just to throw their weight around and show that they can shut down a hotel, I've lost more than $12,000 because of that $60 differential every week for 4 years. That's why I can't afford a hotel anymore. Privilege, yeah, Colin Kaepernick, you got it. You got it, man. White privilege. All right. Well, let's just go on to the hotel next then. I can't really take this hotel anymore anyway. It's driving me insane being in that hotel for a variety of reasons. But I've told you all along how that place is full of, shall we say, the lower classes. Gangbangers, drug dealers, drug addicts, prostitutes, that kind of thing. They get to live there day after day after day after week after month. From what I've seen, a couple of them for the whole 4 years that I've been at that hotel. Somebody else is paying for it. Do you know who? You are, if you're in Minnesota, your taxes, and I am. You see, they don't actually work for a living. They just get free housing. Or if they do work, they're doing this, that, and the other thing. Anyway, I don't like that to begin with. Since they have no responsibilities, they don't have any big problem about doing the very things my neighbors did in an apartment. Slamming doors all day, all night. They'll stand outside my door and have some gangbanger argument where they're talking like that guy did to me. Gonna cap your ass, motherfucker! You know, that's not exactly what I want to hear 6 inches outside my door that I'm paying $160 for 2 days. At 3 in the morning. I don't really want to hear that, but that's what I hear in this hotel. And the proprietors of the hotel couldn't care less. They're not going to do anything about it. In fact, they're so cheap, they took out all the coffee makers. Not just the coffee, but the coffee makers. So, when I go to that hotel, among so many other things, have to bring my own coffee maker in there. If I didn't just break it. I have to bring my own coffee maker and my own coffee at my expense. That's after I give them the $160, which if the Department of Health had never got involved would be $100 instead of $160. And that hotel provided coffee and coffee makers, by the way. Also, I have to shovel my own snow. I mean, I just call this place the self-service motel because that's what it is. What happened this time, it had snowed a few days before, so the snow was pretty much gone, except that this hotel never shovels snow. They'll bring in a plow once in a while to do the lot, generally, kind of, sorta, but they don't shovel. You know, where you walk, the sidewalk, the parts from your car to the sidewalk. That's just thick snow and ice. So I took my shovel. Oh God, I can't do it. I can't reach back there. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I have a shovel back there. When I got to the hotel, I pulled the car in, and I got out and I shoveled the snow, which isn't good for someone who, like I said in the last videos about murder, his heart has had no exercise for the last 6 years. Shoveling snow is already, even for healthy people, one of the best ways to have a heart attack. But I have to get out and shovel the snow because the hotel won't do it. So after the 5 trips upstairs to move all my stuff upstairs, I shovel the snow. I'll show you a video unless it's on my desktop computer, in which case I won't see that for the near future. I shovel all the snow so I can get in and out of the car, and I go upstairs. I start doing some work, but I just doze off. Of course, I need to catch up on my sleep. I'm asleep for 2 hours and the phone rings. It's one of the guys who runs the hotel, and he doesn't ask me, he tells me to move my car because the plow needs to get in there. I filmed it, and I look out there, and it's like, first of all, this parking lot looks more plowed than it really ever has before to begin with. Second of all, right where I'm at, there's nothing to plow. And I had just shoveled everything around my car. So all the plow's going to do is go cover up everything I'd just done, or most of it. And the guy said, move your car to the back. Well, folks, the back of the hotel is another business. So I asked the guy to clarify. I said, what do you mean by back? Do you mean on the side or at the back? And he just, click, hangs up the phone. This is the guy who, when I come in there, after 4 years of being there, giving them $33,000, I believe, so far. He often can't even say hello. He can't smile, can't banter, chat with me, or anything. So I don't know. I assume he wants me on the side. He said the back, but that's another business. That doesn't make any sense. I go downstairs, I put all this stuff on. It's freezing cold, sub-zero. I put all these clothes. I didn't even have clothes prepared for that. The ones I had were still wet from when I was shoveling snow. So I had to put on wet clothes. And I go down there and I move my car away from where I just shoveled, move it literally like, I don't know, 40, 50 feet away on the side of the building. And I park it in a place where all the snow's there again. But I'm too tired and too cold to shovel it again. So now, after I did all that shoveling in my snow to have access to my car, I had to tramp my sandal feet through a bunch more snow. Well, the plow, since it has really nothing to do, as near as I could tell, it didn't even come anywhere near where I was parked because there was nothing there. But what did happen was another guest, one of these gangbangers who's always there, he pulls in to where I had just shoveled everything, and he's there for the rest of the stay. So he gets to enjoy that nice clear walkway I had shoveled. Well, my car's out there, I can't even get at it without tramping through a bunch of snow. So about 3 in the morning, for some reason, I feel something weird. And I feel like I need to go look at my car. So I open my door, I go out in the hallway, I look out the window at my car down there, and there's some weirdo pacing right in front of my car. Right in front of my car. There's only 2 cars in that whole lot on the side. One is way down there, it's been there for as long as just looks like it's an abandoned car almost, and mine. And it's like 3 in the morning, folks, and it was something like 15 degrees below zero. This person's out there with no hat, no gloves, and they're just pacing in front of my car, within inches of it. So I grab the camera and I start trying to film that. By the time I get there, they've moved, so I don't feel very comfortable. When it comes time to leave the hotel, I don't think it was the next day, it was like 2 days, the day, because you get 2 nights, 1.5 days. When it came to the morning where I had to leave, again, I have to take 4 or 5 trips to load my car with all my gear. Very expensive gear, relatively expensive. My computers, 2 computer monitors, other gears, hard drive cases, things like this. So I go starting to load up the car. I go outside the door and I go to my car. I hadn't even reached my car yet when that same creepy guy comes outside and just starts standing there right in front of my car. I've got all these bags with all this expensive gear. I can't view my car from when I go up to the room to get the rest of the stuff. And this guy's just sitting there staring at me. So I just shove it into the car, make a big production out of beep, and I go inside and I move as fast as I possibly can to get another load before this guy steals everything I just put in there. And that happened the whole time. At the end of it, by the time I got everything loaded into the car and was ready to leave, which was about 20, 30 minutes later, this guy, some boom, boom, boom mobile came in, backed in right next to my car, and this guy gets inside, and there's another gangbanger sitting there in that car, right next to my driver's side. And I come out with the last load, which is my most expensive stuff, my bag with my computers, my desktop computer, and the roller, and I'm just standing there, and I'm like, There's no one in the hotel can see this side. That's why I parked out front before, you see, so people could see my car. No one can hurt me or my car without being seen. But I'm in this isolated place because the people who run the hotel told me to move my car over here. So I take the stuff back inside and I just sit there and watch. And they start driving away very slowly, and the one who was skulking around my car all the time, he rolls down his window and he's literally turning his head back, looking at me through the window. And then the car stops and it backs up so that both of them can stare at me through his open window. So I go to grab the guy who runs the hotel, and I say, get over here and look at this. And I get over, and as soon as we get to the thing, I see that car pulling around the corner, and he's gone. So I load up my car with the last stuff. I get in the car, I go to start the car, it doesn't start, of course. Of course it doesn't start. Why would it start? It had been like 20 degrees below zero. Why would it start? And this time, usually when that happens, it takes about a half hour to start the car, and you have to try it over and over and over again. That's why the starter's dying on this car. And you get to where there's almost no juice left, and finally it turns over. This time, that didn't happen. It just completely drained the battery. So I have this battery pack in the car I've never really had a chance to try out. So I pop open the hood, and all the whole time I'm hoping these gangbangers don't come back, because I've now got all my stuff in this car, and I'm just sitting here by myself, and I don't have a car that operates. So I pop open the hood, I put this thing on there, and, well, I did try it one other time. I was jumping someone else's car. It didn't do anything. Did nothing at all. But he had a weird car with the battery in the trunk. I think we might have hooked it up wrong. All it did was drain my battery. It just sucked all the juice out of it in like 2 minutes and didn't start his car. So I left it sitting on there, and I pushed in the clutch so that my car would roll away from the building so that it would get to a flatter area. Although it was never flat, the car will always roll. In case I need to get someone to come in and give me a jump, as if I'm going to find someone in this place. The hotel operators certainly aren't going to help. They don't help with anybody. They just take your money. That's all they do. Well, I left the battery pack on there for the longest time, and somehow, miraculously, I actually, this time, it actually started. And once it starts, it's fine. So it started. The thing is, I don't have an emergency brake. It's going to roll backwards if I let off the clutch, and I've got my hood open with that battery pack up there. The only way I can get it is to turn off the car. But if I turn off the car, is it going to start again? So I have to sit there and wait at least 2, 3, 4 minutes for the car to warm up enough to where it'll start again, which is 2, 3, 4 minutes these creepy gangbangers could come back. That's what I paid $160 for a day and a half in that hotel. To shovel my own snow, to bring my own coffee maker, make my own coffee that I pay for, and to put up with that kind of stupidity. Being woken up while I'm asleep to go move my car, being told to, not asked to. You will move your car. Being hung up on, and then after I shovel the snow because they won't do it, someone else gets to benefit from the whole thing. And I end up tramping through a bunch of snow anyway. So folks, I don't want to go back to this hotel. I've got to be honest with you. I hate this hotel. I always have. It's a nightmare. There's a lot of other things with this hotel, but that's just what happened in that stay. So I don't want to go back. Even if I had the money, I don't want to go back. But my alternative is to sit in this car for 1.5 times a work week. 1.5 times the amount of time that you work at your job full time. Just sitting in this car, and that's my days off when I'm not working. Do you understand why I'm not real happy? I'm not the happiest person in the world.